We're all in very uncertain times, and rather than show you what we want you to see that makes us look good, we're going to share the reality of what it looks like inside the RV right now, because the truth is, we're in trouble.
Welcome back to the RV Odd Couple. My name is John.
And I'm Mercedes, and the sky is falling.
We're in some pretty uncertain times right now in the world, and in the RV, Mercedes and I have been so bogged down in trying to figure out what the future holds for us and our family. Obviously, I want to keep us all safe, that we would just let you in our RV and show you what's really going on over the past 10 days.
And we know that we're going to get criticism. And rather than put on this show that, like, we're put together, I'm not afraid, I think it's better that, like, to come clean. That the reality is, I'm afraid every morning when I wake up, and I'm struggling. And since we're opposites, we're finding solutions for ourselves that are opposite solutions, and it's creating a lot of disharmony. And we can't be the only ones struggling with that.
Right. And so Mercedes and I handle stress in different ways, right?
Yeah.
I'm the male, and Mercedes is a.
Well, they know. I'm anxious, I'm depressed, and I haven't been outside enough, and I'm in a ton of fear right now.
Right. And I've been bathed in a bath of news media probably 12 to 15 hours a day because there's not a lot of other things to do, and I'm driving my wife crazy. One of the biggest problems that's going on now is that we're not really only fighting a war against this virus and this pandemic, but we're actually in a political year where all the news is coming through a political lens, because there are people fighting for power. And so one side, the mainstream side, wants to basically replace the guy that's in office. So all the information that they bring to us is through that political lens, that he's a bad guy, he's screwing everything up. We've got media outlets out there that really are political pundits posing as neutral news, right? True news.
I can only handle so much of that intense breaking news, and the pundits talking. It's making me mentally ill. When I wake up in the morning, I feel like my mind woke up 3 hours ahead of me. It's on full blast, and I feel scared. I don't want to get out of bed. I feel indecision. I feel anxiety, and like my heart, and like, that fight or flight kind of thing. And to top it off, I feel guilty for feeling that way because we're blessed. So I feel like, how dare you feel that way? The greatest generation dealt with real problems. Your problems aren't real. And so I'm struggling with that. And I do want to be informed. But I can't handle breaking news and shining lights, and it's like really messing me up. Yeah.
And I'm that guy that shuffles through the channels, right? So I don't just watch one channel, I watch them all so that I can see the political lens that they're all coming through, because they all have, right, a political goal. And so I can see that. Mercedes does not watch news. She's never liked news.
So to say that I don't like news isn't fair. What I don't like is getting the news through someone else's filter. Like, what I'm trying to do, I want to hear what the president has to say. I want to hear what our governor has to say. But I don't want to hear 20 different opinions about what they said. And so I do want to know what's going on. I don't want to put my head in the sand. I don't think that's a solution. But I can't handle all this toxicity and all this adrenaline rush. And I'm really having a hard time because, as you can see, obviously this is a big contentious issue. He feels like, as a man, he's protecting us by watching all this news, and my toxicity level is up to here, and I cannot handle it. But here's the problem. I know we had a really rough batch a couple years ago, and I learned that boundaries are not what you impose on someone else, they're what you impose on yourself. So my boundary, I cannot handle a bunch of news, but I can't make him do that.
Right. And so when this thing started out a week ago, Mercedes and I both started watching the news together.
Like
both
8
of us
hours a day.
Wanted to see what was going on and what the plan was and where we should be and what's going to close. The problem that's happening between Mercedes and I in my house now is that Mercedes has media overload.
Yeah.
And I need to find out what's going to happen next. And one of my biggest struggles with the mainstream media in this country is pretty much their political hacks that are trying to tell you that their opinions are neutral, right? And they're just giving you the truth. And it's really hard to weed through all that news and information
And
to
decide.
figure out what the truth really is.
But what's adding to this is I'm not just afraid of the pandemic. I'm afraid of the stock market crashing. I'm afraid of a trade war with China. I'm afraid of, this doom and gloom, and not to mention that, like, John has lung issues. So
Right.
this is something that we are taking very seriously.
And I'm not so much afraid of the pandemic as I am afraid of the pandemic is going on in a political year where there's a national election coming up in 6 months
Yeah.
to get us to vote for this guy or hate this guy.
Yeah.
And I have not seen anyone in my lifetime so hated as this president. And so what's happened now is that to watch my news, I got to go outside or I've got to go to the back of the RV in our bedroom to watch the news to keep up to date. Now, Mercedes is my best friend, and so when I hear something new or I hear something that is insane, I come out to tell Mercedes these things, and Mercedes doesn't want anything to do with it.
I put a boundary up, and I feel like when I make a boundary and you don't respect that, I feel like you don't respect me. And you feel like I'm rejecting you, like I'm not being your friend and I'm not being there for you. But I feel like you don't respect me because I can't handle this and you're bringing this to me.
And what I'm trying to help my wife understand that everything is going to be okay. I believe that this president is doing the right things. He's made the right calls with what's going on. And what scares me most is that we've got a political party in this country that is willing to flush the country in order to get power. All they care about is getting power. And when I go to share those things with Mercedes, she's at a point now
I can't handle it.
She just doesn't want to hear it.
Just look at the emotional intensity that you talked about, how passionate you are. Like, I can't handle that. I need a de-stress. I need a de-escalation. I want to have your back and all, but I can't, it's like a self-preservation mode. And here's what's making matters worse is that for the first week that this was all going on and all the campground closures and all this stuff, I'm staying inside, right? I'm not even going outside and getting any
Right.
sun touching my skin.
I'm running to the grocery store 2 or 3 times a day trying to find toilet paper.
Oh my God, that's another issue.
We had
too.
one of our Canadian neighbors just bring us over 2
We were
rolls of
down to
toilet
one
paper. We
roll.
were down to 1 roll, 3/4 of a roll actually. And our neighbor brought us toilet paper. So
And he said it wasn't for us. He said he did it for himself so that he didn't have to
watch
John.
us out in the yard with a hose doing the do-it-yourself bidet.
No, and then what's crazy though is that then I finally get out, right? And I go to Staples and I find 2 packs of Kleenex, right? And I'm thinking I am winning life right now, but it's cooling effect.
So you're gonna get that cool feeling when you wipe your butt.
That's why they were still there, So now that's a whole other issue that actually is producing a lot of anxiety. And I think what I need to do is I can't blame the news and I can't blame John because I don't have a right to try to change him. I do have to take personal responsibility. That means that if I need to be on the opposite side of the RV, so be it. But here's what worries me about that. The physical separation precedes the emotional one. He feels like I'm trying to keep him from the news and keep him uninformed, and I feel like he's trying to keep me in a toxic lava. I don't want it to happen in such a way that it makes us not be on the same page because we worked so hard to get to where we are now.
Right.
That's all I'm looking for, is just to stand on a firm foundation. I just cannot afford to get that emotionally involved in what someone's doing that's completely outside of my control.
Right. And it drives me insane because I just want everything to be okay. I want Americans to pull together. I know that 90% of us want the same thing for our families and each other. And it just drives me absolutely insane when they try to divide us in order to get power. And that's the piece I'm really struggling with. I think that I do think that God's got us. I do think that all of this is going to work out. I think that we all have to be watching out for each other and just being good Americans and doing our part. For 10 days we couldn't figure out what to post, and then ultimately we just looked at each other and said,
that's what we post.
Let's post
That's
that.
what we post.
Let's
What's
let them
really
know we are,
happening.
because we can't be the only people that are feeling like this.
Exactly. Exactly.
We're blessed to be in a place where we're here for a long period of time. We're blessed that Sage is going to be starting therapy as soon as they open it again.
Half the reason why we call ourselves RV Odd Couple is because we're so different, right? You got a prepper and a minimalist. I think what you need is a bromance. You need a dude that is just as conservative as you, that you can talk all this wonderful like stuff to.
The problem is I hate the phone, so
Yeah,
I can't just get on the phone and talk to somebody. I hate being on the phone any more than 2 or 3 minutes. It just doesn't seem real to me.
When we started dating, he used to talk on the phone with me for hours. Okay, we would talk on the phone for hours on end. So he's capable of having a fantastic conversation on the phone.
You also used to be a pretty hardcore Democrat.
Yes, I was
and now
a straight party ticket, and now my ticket is
you're in the
very
middle.
mixed.
You're not a socialist. You're not a crazy person, and you know my.
But he is a crazy person. But he's not a socialist. You just said something important though, because I've never thought of it this way, but you're watching the news because you're thinking that that's helping our family. Like, you're trying to protect us by watching.
Yeah, I'm not doing this because I want to get pissed off. I am watching the news.
That was why.
No, I want to watch the news because I want to know what's going on and where our leaders are trying to take us.
Yeah, okay. So I want to know what you guys are doing for your mental health and your marriage health. Because we cannot be the only two married people that are driving each other nuts right now and that are looking at this and have opposite ways of trying to find a solution.
Right. And I'd like to know what's scaring you guys more, the coronavirus and what's going on in this country,
or the news.
The news media and what they're doing to divide us. And if you like this video, check out our last video where Mercedes and I did a satire piece when this thing all started to take off. I am a germaphobe, but not that much of a germaphobe.
He's totally a germaphobe.
Enjoy the video, guys.